toughest field in the history of poker. 134 players from around the world, all of them pros, many of them legends. They've descended on Foxwoods for the kickoff of the first professional league in the history of the sport. The stakes are high, a $2.5 million season, and the right to be called,
oh, yeah, baby,
the best of the best.
I should have called you.
But the obstacles are monumental.
Oh, Jack! I never bluff.
4 grueling quarters of tournament play.
I need an ace. Drop it out.
I don't know how much I have.
I got no out.
Count it.
An elite field including 53 world champions.
I'm gonna get you one.
And all vow to make it here. The most dangerous final table ever. Be a witness to sports history.
Oh, and there it is on the turn.
We're about to crank up first quarter coverage of the Professional Poker Tour.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Foxwoods and the Professional Poker Tour, the only league in the world dedicated to professional poker players. I'm Matt Corboy.
And I'm Mark Safe. 134 of the top pros are ready to go in this first round of tournament action. This is single elimination. That means once you're busted, you're done.
There are no second chances here. So Mark, what do you say we head out to the spotlight table and pick up the action?
What a strong spotlight table this is, Matt. We have the WPT Borgata champion, Noli Francisco. We have the 2004 World Series of Poker champion, Greg Raymer. And we have one of the living dinosaurs of poker, none other than Amarillo Slim Preston.
Let's shuffle up and start dealing, please.
We've got $2.5 million on the line. Starting off at tournament level 1, which means the blinds are 25 and 50 with no ante, and each player, Mark, is going to start out with 10,000 in chips.
Well, here we go, Matt. First hand off the deck.
These pros have the nervous energy of thoroughbreds at a starting gate. You can feel it.
Every time you sit at a tournament, the first hand coming out, you feel those butterflies in your stomach.
It's folded around to Greg Raymer on the button.
He's got a king-8 offsuit. You can expect a little raise here. He brings it in for 125.
Well, math genius Paul McGrill calls him. Well, as does Noli Francisco, so here we go, Mark. Historic moment time, the first flop ever on the Professional Poker Tour. And it comes out Queen, Queen, 6.
Well, Paul McGrill here has flopped the best hand with queens and 6s.
But he checks it, as does Noli.
Raymer on the button fires out 300. Paul McGrill quickly calls, Noli folds. Here we go. Gonna see the turn card.
He turns the ace of hearts.
Ooh, ace of hearts. That's got to be a scare card now for Paul McGrill. See the look on Paul McGrill's face? That's the last card he wanted to see. There's 2 queens out there and an ace now. His measly pair of 6s with the queens. He doesn't like it too much.
And Greg senses that, comes in for a $500 bet.
Another nice bet by Greg Raymer. He's keeping the lead here. He's raised.
Paul doesn't like it.
There's a scary board out there. He might get Paul to lay down the 6.
And Paul McGrill lays down the best hand.
Don't forget, this is early in the tournament. You got to be building chips. You can't take a lot of chances early on.
That's right, Mark. It's a long process before they get to the final 6. The PPT will take you around the country to 5 of the most prestigious casinos in the world. Each stop on the tour is broken down into 4 quarters, all leading up to the final table. This week, we're kicking things off with action from the first quarter. You know, Mark, next week the action continues with the second quarter, and after the third and fourth quarter shows, we'll bring you the final table and determine the first PPT champion in history.
It's only going to get better from here.
All right, Mark, it is folded around to Alan Jaffrey on the button, who has ace-3 of diamonds and a sweet, sweet jacket on. Now, she's one of 13 women playing on the PPT today.
Well, she's made it 200 to go, and look at this. Roy Brindley, one of Europe's top 10 players, right behind her has picked up pocket queens. And he's going to raise it. He's going to make it 600 to go. Greg Rich gets out of the way.
Well, it's back to Jaffrey. Looks like she's going to make the call, Mark.
She's going to call that additional 400. A lot of players would have folded that hand in that spot, but action players, those that like to see flops,
like you,
will call, and she does. Oh, look at that.
There it
Ace
is.
in the window. Alan Jaffrey has just run down Roy Brindley's 2 queens with her little ace.
He fires out 300 into the pot.
Now, I like Brindley leading out there in that spot, even though the aces come on board, in case Jaffrey has a pair smaller than queens. And Jaffrey, with her aces, is going to call.
Here comes the turn.
It's a jack of clubs. Well, that's got to be a scare card for Brindley. Not only does an ace beat him now, but any jack beats him as well. So he checks. And Jaffrey, afraid of being trapped in check raise, checks behind him.
Well, the river's the king of diamonds.
That's a great card for Jaffrey because it takes your aces and jacks with a 6 kicker to aces and jacks with a king kicker.
And it goes check, check.
Oh, Alan Jaffrey quickly checks behind him. I wish she would have taken a moment here to realize she probably has the best hand.
She has to maximize the value on each of these pots.
Yeah, that's tentative, passive play by Jaffrey. She's going to have to pick up her game if she's going to want to be a contender in this match. I'll tell you that. These guys eat her up if she plays like that.
The Spotlight table is just one of 15 tables in play today. The other 14 tables are out in the poker pit, and we'll be bringing you updates from those tables throughout the tournament. And right now, we're going out to Table 5, where WPT finalist John Juanda is all in. His tournament life is on the line.
Well, his life is in pretty good hands right now because he has 2 aces. He's up against 2 kings and ace-king. All Juanda has to do is dodge a queen or the last remaining king, and he will triple up.
Well, it's a 9 of hearts, and John Juanda is going to triple up, Mark.
I like John Juanda on the short stack. I don't want to see him tripling up ever.
That's right. You know, John Juanda's actually made it to 5 WPT final tables and has never won one. He's come in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and even 7th, finishing on the bubble.
It's folded around to Greg.
It's folded around to Greg Fossilman Raymer, who picks up pocket 5s. He likes to call this hand Presto. Raymer, by the way, is often referred to as Fossil Man because he brings with him to the table as a card protector an actual fossil.
Well, now it's the math genius, Paul McGreal.
Let's see what McGreal's going to do here. He has Jack 9 of diamonds.
On the button.
Is he going to float in behind? No, looks like he's going to raise. He makes it 4:25 to go. He's not giving Raymer credit for a hand.
You never try to get personal at poker, but sometimes you just can't help it. It just happens sometimes.
So it's going to be back to Greg Raymer.
He quickly calls the 300. All right, here we go.
These two butting heads once again.
Well, this is really a struggle to see who's going to be the alpha male at this table. These two guys are ultra loose and ultra aggressive, and we can expect a lot more of this from these two guys until one of them is no longer.
Flop is Queen 9-4, 2 clubs.
Paul McGreal has outflopped Greg Raymer with a pair of 9s here.
And Greg checks to Paul.
Flop come down Queen 9-4 with
Paul
2
comes in
clubs.
for a bet of 750.
Greg check, Paul bets 750.
What is Greg doing here? He just raised it to 2,200 with a pair of 5s. Wow. He just put Paul McGreal in the popcorn machine.
And by the look on Paul's face, I mean, it looks like he's asking himself why he even woke up this morning.
Poker is all about psychological warfare. And big-time poker is about everything but the cards. And Greg Raymer right now is not playing the cards. He is playing the man.
I guess Cindy was the first.
Cindy
Following-
Violet?
Yeah, the cameras are following her as she walks away. So.
Well, Cindy Ultraviolet's pocket kings get run down by Dee Luong's 3 jacks. She becomes the first casualty in the PPT ever.
Not the way you want to go down in PPT history. Nonetheless, Cindy's a great player.
Back at the Spotlight table, Paul McGreal still wondering whether Fossil Man has outflopped him again.
Oh, there it goes. He mucks it.
McGreal lays down the best hand twice now against Fossil Man.
Well, this is really Greg Raymer at his best. He puts a ton of pressure on his opponents early on and makes them lay down the best hand.
Let's jump back into the action where Gregorich in first position folds a king-queen. Behind him, we got Slim with 5-3 offsuit.
One man folds a king-queen, the other man calls with a 5 tray.
Total ride.
Well, look at this. Former professional motocross racer Harley Hall picks up pocket 10s. He's going to raise it up to 250.
Has a very tight image. He's considered a rock at the table, but be careful of this rock. There's a rattlesnake underneath it.
Well, it is folded around to the big blind. Irishman Roy Brindley. Speaking of rattlesnakes here, Mark, he picks up pocket rockets. The best starting hand you can have. He's going to re-raise. He makes it 850 to go. I wonder what Amarillo's going to do with his 5-3. Well, he folds.
Amarillo's out.
And Hall makes the call.
Hall's clearly trying to flop big here and win a big pot. This is a little out of Hall's normal character to be calling big raises with pocket 10s. Here we go.
Well, the flop comes 8-6 jack, 2 diamonds.
Well, this is a good flop for both players, or so it seems. Brindley has to love his overpair, but Hall, too, has to figure this flop could have missed Brindley's ace-king, let's say.
Roy quickly checks.
He's trapping. Let's see if Hall goes for it. Nope, he checks behind.
Returns a 5 of spades.
Roy checks again.
Oh, look at this, Mark. I love it.
Harley Hall now has to believe 2 10s are good right here.
And Roy is hoping he makes a bet.
Look at Harley reaching for his chips. He bets 1,200.
Well, Roy goes back, looks at his cards. He's going to put on a little acting job here, Mark. Do I really like my pocket aces?
He's got to love his pocket aces.
Absolutely.
Price.
Roy Brindley just raises it, makes it 2,600, 1,400 more to go.
The old check raise back to Harley Hall.
Well, a check raise in poker, Matt, is like a punch in the face. Hall cannot like this.
Did what I thought he would do.
Sorry?
He said he didn't like for you to raise him.
Sorry.
There was a euphemism for that.
Euphemism.
It's an English word.
Big word, too big for me.
Uh-oh, rare. A little cat fight going on here between Hall and Brindley.
Hall just got duped. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like the guy who duped him. He said, I should have checked the turn. I knew that. Instead, now I have to lay this hand down to a check.
And he gets rid of his pocket 10s.
Nice play by Roy Brindley. He's going to take this pot down with pocket aces.
I think I laid down the best hand there, Greg.
Well, we got news for you, Harley. Good fold.
You played with him before?
Roy? No, not really. I chatted with him in Dublin in July.
And as Hall checks on Brindley's pedigree, he's wondering, where did this guy come from? What's he doing?
Now, Brindley plays mostly in Europe, so a lot of these players don't know about him. They haven't seen him play. They don't know his style.
That's right. And I think that works to Brindley's advantage because although these players don't know much about him, he has probably seen these guys on TV.
See you next time.
Well, Matt, it's never fun to be the first one busted out of a tournament, especially in front of all your friends and peers. But to Cindy Violet's credit, she did get her money in with the best hand.
Well, as Cindy takes the walk of shame, there's more professional poker tour to come, so stick around.
The players who have qualified to play here aren't the only thing that makes the PPT the most elite series in poker.
The PPT's full speed.
I love it. It's a great challenge.
It's unbelievable. It's unique in poker, and I'm very happy to be a part of it.
For me to have a chance to play in big-time poker tournaments with the best players in the world, I love it.
Throughout the entire first season, we have the privilege of being hosted by the finest casinos in the country. These are poker palaces where the elite rally to enjoy the finest poker rooms and casino staffs in the world. 5 of the toughest tournaments on earth at 5 of the most prestigious casinos.
This PPT, I'm telling you, is a lot of fun.
Holy cow! I'm used to playing in the old dark rooms with the sawdust floors and sitting on crates. It's really come a long way.
I love the PPT. This is going to be so much fun.
We've just kicked off our season here at Foxwoods Resort Casino in Mashantucket, Connecticut, home of the WPT World Poker Finals and players like Noli Francisco and Greg Raymer. Welcome back to the Professional Poker Tour, the only league of its kind, Mark. We're still in first quarter action, so the stacks are pretty tight.
We've got Noli Francisco with 11,000, just over 11,000, and McGrill on the short stack with 8,200.
Well, it is folded around here to Fossil Man Raymer, who has Queen 7 offsuit. The local boy, he and his wife, live just down the street from Foxwoods.
Raymer looks very comfortable here because he just raised with a Queen 7 offsuit in middle position.
The McGrill now, who has Queen 6, he'll get rid of him.
The polarity to the cards, yeah.
Noli Francisco with a 7-4 of diamonds makes the call.
Francisco, a New Yorker, been playing poker for 25 years, known as an unstable fella in terms of his calls and raises. So here we go.
Heads up flop between the Fossil Man and Francisco. And the flop comes down, King Trey Deuce.
Well, that flop completely misses both players. Raymer checks, and Francisco fires out 200, which Raymer, for some reason, I don't know why, actually calls.
Well, the turn misses both of them. Raymer checks. Francisco fires out 800. And the Fossil Man quickly folds, Mark.
And Francisco flashes his cards to the camera again and says, "Look at this play out there, folks."
Well, that's interesting. Raymer so far has been establishing himself as the aggressor, the bully at the table, and he kind of put the brakes on when he's playing Francisco here.
The only reason why I can think of Raymer calling this flop that completely missed him was so he could fire out on the turn in order to do a little bluff there. But he didn't follow through.
Are you telling me that the alpha male here may have been a little scared of Francisco?
Well, Noli Francisco, he may be a small guy in physical stature, but he's a giant at the tables.
Well, John Hennigan is going to be the third person out of our tournament because David Fan was eliminated. And now we have 131 players left here at the PPT at Foxwoods.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, we can't play on it.
Well, the action here is on Amarillo Slim. He's got King 5 and dumps it. Right behind him, Hall has Jack 10. He says he'd like to see a flop here. He calls. Fossil Man Mark has pocket sixes.
And he decides to limp in. I like to raise with small pocket pairs here because I want to try to get heads up, have a better chance of winning.
Well, to Francisco now, he has ace-9. He's going to call. Rice and Jaffrey fold to Brindley now, who has 10-8.
Well, you can see these players coming into this pot with somewhat weak hands, and the reason why they're doing that is because they're getting great pot odds now.
Mark Gregorich is going to come in for the first time. Mark Gregorich, the PPT, Mark Gregorich.
Here it comes down, King 9-3, 2 diamonds.
Everybody's missed the flop except for Noli. He has second pair.
It goes check, 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 check to Noli here.
Oh, and he checks too. I don't like this check. I think he needed to take a stab at it here. He has a good hand.
Oh, and look at that. The free card that he let everybody see is a 6, giving Greg Raymer a set of 6s on the turn here.
That's why you bet your second pair when it's checked around to you.
Well, Brindley, Gregorich, and Hall all check to Raymer, who has his set. He bets out 200. Francisco calls it.
Yeah, now he's calling with the worst of it.
I might have one, but I know I don't want to hit it.
Well, it gets the other 3 out. Brindley, Gregorich, and Hall all full.
3 diamonds on board.
So we are going to see a river card heads up here.
Neither player has a diamond.
Well, here's the river card. It's the ace of diamonds. That can be a little scare for both players. 4 diamonds on board now.
Neither player likes that. Francisco leads out for $100. That's a nice little preventative bet there. He wants to keep Raymer from determining the amount of the bet, which likely would have been higher. He gets Raymer to bite. Raymer calls. He's going to win the hand, but Francisco lost the minimum on this hand, and he's happy about it. Isn't poker great? Anytime you can lose and be happy, you know it's a good day.
I've never seen a poker player smile that much after losing a hand.
Look at the table. This is funny. You've got the first 3 guys, Gregorich, Slim, and Hall, very tight, solid players. Then the next 3 are total nut jobs that can't find any 2 cards to throw away. And then the back 3, they're pretty tight, solid too. So it's no surprise that you're going to see a lot of the action coming from the middle of the table.
Well, here we are at the spotlight table where the price of poker just went up.
Well, the action here is on Greg Raymer. You know, he dumps his King 6, Mark, but he has not been doing much folding today. He's been playing a lot of hands.
He doesn't fold a lot. What he does, he takes advantage of a lot of players' tight preliminary play, and what this does is gives him a chance to accumulate some chips, which he's going to use in second quarter action to bully people around.
Well, it's folded around to poker columnist Mark Gregorich, who has ace-3 in the hole. He's going to raise it up 3 times the big blind to 300.
And with the PPT hole cam brought to you by Budweiser, we can see that Amarillo Slim has picked up a Jack-6.
Raise it.
Look at Amarillo Slim. Announces raise with a Jack-6 offsuit. He clearly thinks Mark Gregorich is raising on position only.
What's he going to raise it to?
Wow. Amarillo Slim makes it 1,400 to go from the small blind with a Jack-6. Harley folds to Queen 10, and Mark quickly mucks as well.
2 queens again. I'm so.
And what does Amarillo Slim do? He shows him the Jack-6 offsuit. He says, "Son, I've been playing longer than you've been alive."
You gotta wear glasses now.
Huh?
You gotta wear glasses. That was Jack-6 you bet.
Those was his discard. I had 2 black queens.
Oh, all right.
I love it, Mark. Slim's the type of player who will lie to your face and make you like it.
Well, Slim isn't just old school. He's pre-old school. This guy was playing poker before there were backrooms. I think he invented backroom poker.
Oh, look at this. Brindley making a sneaky little call here at pocket jacks.
It's not sneaky. It's just plain dangerous. These are not aces, Brindley. You need to thin the field. Here comes Amarillo Slim right behind him with a 10-9. He calls.
Well, he started the limp parade there, but look at this. Harley Hall has a real hand here. Queens.
Oh, man, for crying out loud. Go ahead and raise it.
He does, Slim. He does. He makes it 500 to go.
Well, for crying out loud, Slim, he's got the best hand and he's got best position, and he raises.
It's back to Brindley here, who's going to call it.
And Slim's going to muck, disappointedly.
We're going to be heads up again here between Hall's queens against Brindley's jacks.
This is exactly what Hall wanted to do. He wanted to be in position, heads up. He got his wish.
And there comes a flop, ace 8-6.
This is an ugly flop for both players. They don't like the ace. Brindley checks. Harley's going to fire 500 at it.
A quick call, so we're going to have a turn here.
Harley's thinking, oh man, did this guy hit an ace on me?
Well, it turns an 8 of clubs.
Brindley checks again. Let's see if Hall takes another stab at it.
Turn card is an 8 of clubs.
Wow, see, Hall is slowed down, maybe by that last hand they had between each other.
I'll tell you what, Matt, poker players won't remember what they had for breakfast, but they'll remember a hand that was played against them 10 years ago where they got stung.
Well, the river's a 7 of hearts.
Brindley checks again.
What's Harley going to do here? Oh, he checks right behind him. They're going to turn the cards up. Hall's going to wish he'd bet it here.
Hall's going to win the hand, but Brindley missed a golden opportunity here.
Well, like you said, Brindley just spent some advertising dollars on the hand before to scare Hall, and he did it, but he didn't capitalize on it.
That's right. He didn't put Harley Hall into the grinder, if you will, again. A tough, aggressive player might have done that.
His last hand against me slowed me down a bit.
Well, Mark, Hall wins that pot, but you are not going to get many chances in this field. You have got to maximize your profits if you want a chance at that $2.5 million prize pool.
As the great Johnny Chance says, you can't leave any sugar on the table.
There is more historic first quarter action to come here on the Professional Poker Tour.
Welcome back to the PPT. Today, history is being made as the PPT forms the first professional poker league. But unlike traditional poker tournaments, you can't just buy your way into the PPT. You have to qualify. Players are awarded 1, 2, or 3-year PPT Tour cards based on their accomplishments, with top honors going to World Poker Tour champions and winners of the World Series main event.
Now making it to a World Poker Tour final table twice in a season, or placing in the final 6 at the WPT Championship or the World Series main event also scores you a card.
And other pros, such as members of the WPT Poker Walk of Fame, the Poker Hall of Fame, and the European Top 10 are also invited to play.
And with a field that is already being called the toughest in the history of poker, qualifying is only the first step.
That's right, Mark. A player must continue to meet requirements to remain on the PPT. Otherwise, they forfeit their tour card and their chance to be crowned the best of the best.
Not only is there $2.5 million on the line this season, but the winner of this tournament gets to call themselves the best of the best.
The blinds and antes are going up. The action is sure to go up from here.
The action's going to be on Roy Brindley here. Tight player from Europe picks up King 10. He's going to fold it to Greg Rich now. 10-3 of clubs. He folds to the 1972 World Series of Poker champion Amarillo Slim. Picks up a real hand here, pocket 7s.
You know, we just saw Amarillo raise with Jack 6, but here he is limping with 2 7s.
Well, Raymer, a couple seats behind him, has 6-3, Mark. He's also going to limp in.
Well, he's delighted that he gets to see a flop for a mere $100.
Well, not for long. Noli Francisco on the button. Jack 8 of clubs. He's going to raise it, make it 600 to go.
Bit of an unusual play there, but I like it.
Oh, but watch out. The attorney, Jaffrey, here has a real hand. Ace-King.
Raise.
Alan Jaffrey elects to re-raise. Beautiful raise here by Jaffrey.
Hey, I give 2 queens, Slim.
First real hand Slim's had all day.
She's going to drive out the better hand, Amarillo Slim's 2-7s. Clearly, Raymer has to muck, and even the Razor, Francisco, with a Jack-8 has to lay it down.
Well, that's the beauty of picking up a hand like Big Slick. You can often take down a pot without having to see a flop.
And if you're forced to see a flop, you're in pretty good shape. You're not dominated except by aces.
Yeah, see, she knows the steal when she sees one, Noli. He folded that way too fast for a real hand.
Yeah.
Wow, nice read by Greg Raymer. He identifies the fact that Noli folded so quickly. That's why some players, Matt, sometimes take their time folding junk hands so they don't give away any information.
You know, Mark, this room really is full of exceptional poker players.
I still want a seat at the table. Can I get a seat?
I think it's a little late for that now, Mark. All right, the action is going to be on Mark Gregorich. He looks down, ace-3 suited.
I like to limp in with these hands, see if I can get multi-way action, hopefully flop a flush or a straight. But Gregorich elects to fold.
Well, it's folded to Raymer here, who has king 10.
He brings it for 150. That's an illegal bet.
Old level. He hasn't played this game very much. So.
Yeah.
Greg pulls back to 50. Now that's a mistake. He's required to make it at least 200. He put in half the bet.
So you put in that. He's not forced to make it 200. He's just 100.
I'll do whatever I'm required to do.
Okay.
Actually, no, it's misfire.
No, because I just tell you, just the other day we had the same thing, and they required the guy to put 200 in.
Paul's absolutely right here, Matt. Greg Raymer brought it in for 150. The blinds are 50 and 100. The minimum raise would have been to make it 200. Because he put in half, though, it has to become 200. But just like in other sports, they're going to miss this one. They're just going to allow him to limp in for 100, which is going to spur on more action.
Sean Rice calls.
Yes. If he puts another 100,
And I don't care.
Alan quickly calls right behind him. Roy checks.
We're going to see a flop 5 ways.
Here we go.
Flop comes down, king 9-6.
Well, Raymer is flop top pair.
It's on Jaffrey. She'll check. Brindley checks.
Raymer's going to fire 300. McGrill has a gut shot straight draw with his queen jack. He needs a 10.
Greg makes it 300.
And he re-raises. Ding ding, round 5.
Two heavyweights going at it. Raises Raymer, makes it 825 to go. Jaffrey and Brindley get out of the way. It's back to Raymer.
Regardless of what happens in this hand, I like this play by Paul McGrill.
He's firing right back at Greg.
I think he's trying to take advantage of the little confusion that occurred with Greg Raymer's raise.
It also looks like he's overcome his fear of Greg Raymer.
What's Greg thinking about here? He thinks, based on all this pre-flop activity and all this discussion, that McGrill might have a big hand, and he folds top pair.
Mark, in the beginning of this quarter, Raymer came out firing. I mean, he was raising every pot. He was the aggressor and taking down a lot of pots. Lately, we've seen him slow down.
I really think this goes back to that Queen 7 hand that he decided to raise in middle position with, where we saw Francisco call him with the 7-4 of diamonds, and then we just saw Francisco basically out-muscle him there. Ever since then, we've seen Raymer a little bit out of sync. Here, he folds to his rival McGrill with top pair. I don't get it.
Well, aggressive Raymer wins, tentative Raymer loses.
This is a big turnaround for Paul McGrill, who had been outplayed in 2 hands prior to this one. Now he does the outplaying. Nice bet, X22.
He's known as X22 because he's a former backgammon champion, and he played a tournament against himself. With 64 players, each one he dubbed X1, X2, X3, and so on, and X22 was the winner of his tournament.
Paul McGrill, strange character, great poker player.
Well, action's going to be on World Poker Tour Borgata Open champion, Noli Francisco.
I vaguely remember that tournament, Matt.
How long were you in that tournament, Mark?
No comment.
Noli looks down at a 3-deuce offsuit. He folds.
Well, Sean Rice, surprise, surprise, folds to the attorney, Jaffrey, who has king, queen of hearts. He's going to raise it up 3 times the big blind, 300. Oh, but Brindley, look at this, has ace, queen right behind her. Ah, he's just going to call her. You like that call, Mark?
I do like his call. They're both in relatively early position. There's a lot of players left to act. I like the smooth call here.
Paul McGrill has king 10. He's got a little bit of a decision here.
200 more to Paul if he wants to call.
Well, McGrill's going to fold. We're going to have a heads-up flop here between Jaffrey and Brindley. King, queen against ace, queen.
Well, Brindley's in a dominant position here. He's better than a 3-1 favorite.
Flop is 3 queen deuce, 2 spades.
This could spell big trouble for Alan. She's immediately going to reach out. She thinks she's got the best hand. She bets 400.
Oh, and Brindley just calls it.
If he was going to be cautious before, it's no time to be cautious now. Brindley has a huge flop.
Here comes the turn. It's another deuce, deuce of hearts.
That's a great card for Brindley. He's got to love that.
Jaffrey retains the lead. She bets at 1,000.
Wow, and Brindley just smooth calls again.
What would you have done there, Mark?
Well, I think I got a raise here. I want to find out where I am in this hand, and I also want to get some more chips in this pot.
You're going to see the river card. It's a 5 of spades, giving 3 spades on the board.
Jaffrey's going to check now. She's put on the brakes after he's called both her flop and churn bets.
Brindley bets out 600 into a $3,500 pot.
This makes no sense to me whatsoever. Jaffrey's going to make an automatic call. Brindley's going to take down this pot, but really, I think Brindley left a lot of money on the table here.
This is first quarter action, Mark. This is chip building time.
Brindley underplayed this hand. He really didn't have a plan and really didn't know where he was in this hand. If he did, he would have raised her on the flop or on the turn or made a much bigger bet on the end. I've seen this a few times from European players where I think they just get a little too fancy for my taste.
Well, Brindley's going to get away with it this time, but we'll see if his European style can stand up to the American players when we return. First quarter action here on the PPT is all about building chips. And right out of the gate, Greg Raymer made it known he'll steal anything that's not nailed down.
I never bluff.
Math geek Paul McGreal took a beating from Raymer early on before exploiting a weak spot that wounded the Fossil Man.
Did I fail to win a pot, I would have won with a real raise.
I fold for sure.
Meanwhile, motocross bad boy Harley Hall and Irishman Roy Brindley have also thrown down.
Crazy.
Brindley's got the chips, and Hall's got the attitude.
Euphemism.
It's an English word.
Big word, too big for me.
Accumulating chips is the key to advancing into the next quarter. And so far, in the race to build the biggest stack, these 9 players are neck and neck. Mark, there are no soft spots in this field. Everywhere you look is a table full of titans.
This is the PGA of poker.
Here at our spotlight table, actions on Sean Rice, who has king, queen. Oh, and he folds. Mark, what's this guy waiting for?
Matt, I know you want to see him play a hand because he's really been the missing person at this table. But some players just elect to have things come to them, develop around them, and some players make it happen. They create their own opportunities.
Gregorich with pocket 4s raises it up to 250.
Foxwoods, I see. A fox in the woods.
Oh, look at Harley Hall picks up a big hand here. Pocket queens.
Again, remember he had queens against jacks when it was Brindley and Hall before.
I tell you, the ladies love Hall, man.
Well, Hall's a good-looking guy. I can see that.
Professional motocross racer. They get all the ladies.
He's going to raise. He's going to make it 700 to go. He's looking to isolate Gregorich. He's looking to play this pot heads up. He knows that while queens are a strong hand, they're very vulnerable to any ace or king.
Everyone folds. It's back to Gregorich.
Gregorich just shot Hall a look.
Hall staring down Gregorich. Gregorich almost looks intimidated.
This is the kind of staring that you see in a bar when two guys are about to throw blows. Gregorich is going to get out. Hall's going to win the staring contest and the pot. Take it down, Harley Hall.
I got to have a monster to re-raise you. You know that.
That's a pretty good hand.
That's a big one.
After taking down that pot, Hall is our chip leader at this spotlight table with 12,000, but Roy the Boy Brindley nipping at his heels.
That's right, but Paul McGreal and Greg Raymer are bringing up the rear with about 9,000 apiece. They're still not far behind.
And the action here is going to be on the attorney, Alan Jaffrey. She's got 10-4 in mucks. Well, Brindley right here. It's a wired pair of 9s. He's going to raise it up to 300.
Hooray!
We
just saw
believe it.
Brindley raise with a pocket pair. It took him a while to get warmed up, but he's finally doing what he needs to be doing.
He's been limping with those, and he's finally getting aggressive. So McGreal. Oh, McGreal picks up big slick now. Ace-king.
He has the button. A lot of players in this position will just smooth call because they have position and they want to take advantage of that. When you have bad position, you like to re-raise and end the hand. Good position. Let's see a flop.
Careful, they're 500s.
Brindley's doing everything he can to keep McGreal from raising. He said, careful, those are 500s. Now McGreal can read that as strength on the part of Brindley, kind of taunting him, or we can read that as weakness. I wouldn't give too much information to McGrill. This guy's a genius.
Well, McGrill's going to raise it up. It's going to make it 12.50 to go.
I'm wondering now if Brindley's little comment there didn't provoke that raise by McGrill.
Well, it's back to Brindley now with his pocket nines. He's got a decision to make here.
He has 2 nines. He knows he's not going to be a big favorite. At best, he's going to be a slight favorite or even money.
I know this feeling when you just get put into the grinder. Like, what do you do? And Brindley chooses to fold his wired pair of nines.
I'm not too crazy about this fold here. Brindley has played a little too passively for my taste. Ever since he came in with those 2 jacks just limping in against Harley Hall's 2 queens, his ace queen against Jaffrey's king queen, and now these 2 nines, he's really playing a little too passively. He's not taking advantage of the fact that these guys don't know much about him.
You played with him before?
No, not really.
And you can really keep them on their toes, keep them a little off balance by playing more aggressively.
Mark, I got to tell you, Brindley's going to have to step it up if he wants any piece of this $2.5 million prize pool.
Yeah, that stuff might work across the pond, but here in America land, we play awfully fast.
Let's fold around at Poker Hall of Famer Amarillo Slim, who's going to limp in here with Jack 7 of spades. Raymer has ace 7. He says, I'll call. Behind him, we have McGrill. Uh-oh, Mark. He's making a waterfall call.
He is one of the most colorful characters in poker. He's a lot of fun to play with, and he's a ton of fun to watch.
So it's around to our big blind, Alan Jaffrey here, who has king 9. She'll tap the table. We're going to have a 4-way flop here between Jaffrey, Slim, Raymer, and McGrill. Flop comes out queen, 10-5, 2 clubs.
Pretty good flop for Paul McGrill. Top pair, top kicker.
Alan's first to act. She checks. Amarillo checks.
And Greg Raymer flops zilch, 0, nada. He's drawing dead unless he can bluff his way through this hand.
Well, he's trying. He just bet out $300.
Ah, the claw. Did you see the claw from McGrill?
McGrill gives Raymer the claw, and he calls.
Watch out.
He's playing with fire a little bit. There's 2 clubs on board, plus there's a coordinated board with the queen 10. I don't know if I like this smooth call.
Alan Jaffrey says, sure, I'll call that. I got a gut shot straight draw. Let's see what happens. And Amarillo folds. Turn card's coming.
Turns a 4 of spades.
Well, that's pretty much a blank. That figures to have hit nobody or helped nobody.
The action's on Greg Raymer again, and Greg bets 1,000.
Well, this is serious business. You can see already Fossilman has got his game face on. I mean, he wants his name etched in the history books as the first ever professional poker tour champion.
Raise. Raise.
And McGrill announces raise twice.
Raise, quack, quack.
He raises it 2,200, quack, quack.
He's a bit of an odd player. He does things like that. It says quack, quack, meaning 2,200.
Well, quack, quack is for duck, duck, which is deuce, deuce. But let me tell you, this guy is all nut, nut. And it's going to go over to Jaffrey. This is too much heat in the kitchen for Jaffrey. She's going to get out.
Well, these two have been toe-to-toe all day long, Mark. Most of the time, Raymer has been landing the punch that stuns McGrill. Right now, McGrill is punching back.
McGrill has had enough. He's not going to take it anymore. The reptilian stare is not going to phase this guy because he's got the goods.
That's it. The Fossil Man lays it down.
Quack, quack.
Paul McGrill looks like he's getting back in his groove.
Yeah, it also looks like Greg Raymer's not talking anymore. He's lost a couple hands in a row.
Greg Raymer was just trying to buy that one. It didn't work this time.
I had to steal that just to get even.
Well, Raymer's had him on the ropes all day long, but McGrill finally gets in a counterpunch. Will someone land the knockout blow? We'll find out when we return on the Professional Poker Tour. Welcome back to the PPT, the first professional league of its kind. Now, not only is there $2.5 million on the line this season, but the winner of this tournament gets to call themselves the best of the best.
I love it. The best poker players in the world, they're coming out to win this thing right here, right now.
Well, Mark, we're going to see how the quarters break down on the road to the final table. Now, in the first quarter of play, you want to do some chip building. You're feeling out your opponents. You're building confidence with your stack.
The second quarter, Matt, is all about rhythm, finding your stride, getting the true feel of your opponents, adjusting and fine-tuning your strategy.
Oh, jeez! We see the big stack bullies emerge in the second quarter. Now, in the third quarter, you're holding firmly to your position. You're dodging bullets, and you're finally picking and choosing your spots to make your move.
This is where a lot of lead changes occur. And finally, the fourth quarter is where you have to make sure you survive. You got to make it into the money, and you want to get there with a lot of chips.
That's right, because 7th place pays the same as last.
That's right.
Paul McGrill took down that last pot, added $2,000 to his stack. He's now the chip leader with $12,300.
That's right. At the same time, Greg Raymer has been on the decline. He's played a lot of hands, and he's now the short stack at this table.
It's folded around to Harley Hall, who looks down at pocket fours, and he merely calls. And behind him, Greg Raymer, looks down at pocket rockets.
He's got the aces. This is a good time for Raymer to get healthy and reestablish himself as the table bully, the table captain. He's made it 400 to go. Hall, unfazed, is going to make the call.
Greg Raymer's been mixing it up, Mark, at this table. He's been in a lot of pots, trying to push people around. People know it. He's been playing junk, getting away with it.
Hall would like nothing more than to snap off Raymer, but unfortunately for Hall, Raymer has the pocket aces this time.
Here comes the flop, Queen 3-3.
Well, this looks like it could be a good flop for Hall. It's a great flop for Raymer, obviously.
The action's on Hall. He checks. Raymer's going to bet out 500.
Nice bet here by Raymer. Smallish bet. He wants to keep Hall in this hand.
Hall makes the call. Here comes the turn. It's a deuce of spades.
Now, Hall's got to suspect that he could have the best hand here. Think about all the hands that Raymer could have raised with that missed him. Hall has to wonder if his 2-4s are good. He's really going into the tank here.
Harley checks again. Raymer bets out 1,500 here.
Raymer's just staring him down. Hall's got to feel a little bothered by this. It's almost like Raymer's in his face.
Mark, does it make it any worse that they're sitting right next to each other?
Oh, it sure does. It's one thing to have the tension that naturally develops between two opponents fighting for a pot, but look at the body language of these two. If there wasn't a PPT title and $500,000 on the line in this tournament, these guys might take it outside. They are not liking each other right now.
Okay, there you have it, Greg.
He's going to lay it down. Good lay down by Hall.
I thought that was the, okay, I'm all in. Move, okay. I had him that time.
Greg Raymer shows his aces.
Very nice answer. Very nice hand.
I decided on right there when I bet that turn. It's like, if you have queens, I'm going home.
Well, look at him. He wins his hand, Mark. He starts chatting it up. That win takes him out of his tailspin that he's been in. Gives him a little confidence.
This was an important hand for Raymer. He picked up $13.50 in chips, took him out of the cellar, and hopefully got his stride back.
Action is going to be on Roy Brindley. Let's take a look at the PPT hole cam brought to you by Budweiser. Oh, Brindley picks up pocket queens.
Oh, and he limps in, Mark. Cagey little limp.
Well, again, we said European players tend to be a little trickier. Here he is, limping with queens. A lot of players will limp with aces. Not too many will limp with queens.
Well, it's folded around to Raymer here. Raymer's got Queen 8 of spades.
And he raises. Boy, he must still think he has those aces he had last hand.
Hold the presses. Sean Rice is in with 9-8 offsuit.
11.
Look at this. Brindley quickly makes it 1,100 to go. This is screaming red flag, danger. I limped with a big pair. Raymer got his information. Nice play by Raymer here. He should be able to fold this hand. Oh,
Mark, he makes the call. 800 more.
I don't understand this play at all, Matt. I think Raymer made a great feeler raise there. He got the information, and now he's totally ignoring it. This is like finding out what the weather's like, determining there's going to be a storm, and putting on shorts and a t-shirt.
Going to see a flop. Greg Raymer's got Queen 8 of spades, Roy Brindley 2 queens. Let's take a look at the flop.
It's queen, deuce, 7, 3 diamonds.
This could spell disaster for Raymer, except for the fact that there's 3 diamonds on board. Maybe that'll scare him and slow him down. Brindley's going to lead out here.
For a bet of 600 with his set of queens.
Greg Raymer here is in a world of trouble. He better be careful.
He's taking his time thinking about this, Mark.
Raymer did flop top pair, but he's got to know he's beat, especially against a guy like Roy Brindley.
Well, let's see if he can get away from it here.
I really don't like those glasses.
Oh, Mark, he moves all in.
Man, if there's a weakness in Raymer's game, it's that he can't get off a hand when he needs to. Roy Brindley has him in bad shape right now.
Okay. Wow. But you weren't supposed to call.
You weren't supposed to stick them all in. You've got to bear a diamond, yeah?
Raymer has been playing fast and loose. He came out of the gate strong, and he just may have self-destructed right here.
The top pros cater their game and play the player. Here, Raymer misstepped because he didn't play Brindley. Brindley has not gotten it out of line all day. Raymer stands the chance now, a very good chance, of being the first ever PPT Spotlight Table casualty. And he is, with that 5 on the turn. It's all over. Raymer needs to pack his bags.
Look at the look on Raymer's face. He is absolutely stunned.
You've got to go back to pre-flop. When Brindley limps in early position, Raymer does a little feeler bet with a queen-8 of spades, finds out that Brindley has to have a big hand when he re-raises him, but ignores it, and then decides to put all the chips in on that flop. I don't get that. I thought he was on the uptick with those pocket aces, the way he played those and got some money in there, but this is a real disappointing finish for Greg Fossilman Raymer.
Now, if it wasn't 3 diamonds, he wouldn't have made that all-in move.
No, I wouldn't have. I figure as long as he has a diamond, he can't call, but that's the one hand he can call with. That's the one hand he can call with and no diamonds.
The fact of the matter is he's been playing fast and loose all day, and it finally bit him in the rear.
Yep, it sure did catch up with him.
Well, Greg Raymer's going to be the 12th person out of our tournament out of 134 players.
All right, new player needed. This one? Yep.
We can expect another tough player, I'm sure, in Greg's seat.
Well, absolutely. This is like a hydra. I mean, you cut off the head and 3 more appear. Well, people often wonder how certain players end up at certain seats in the tournament. And the way it works is that the tables are broken down in the tournament as players get eliminated in a preset order. Now, the players at the table that's being broken down will then stand up, pick a card, and on that card is a corresponding table and seat number.
Hey, y'all.
Looks like it's going to be TJ Cloutier coming to the spotlight table.
Yeah, they didn't get a good deal on that one.
No.
Losing Greg Raymer, getting TJ Cloutier. This table is going to be a little tougher when we come back.
Welcome back to the Professional Poker Tour here from Foxwoods. If you're just joining us, 2004 WSOP main event champ Greg Fossilman Raymer was just eliminated from our tournament.
And guess who you get to replace him, Matt? None other than the all-time winningest poker tournament player in the world, TJ Cloutier.
You might as well have told me that King Kong just sat down at the table, Mark. I mean, this guy literally wrote the book on tournament play.
He sure did, and this is just an example of the level of competition here on the Professional Poker Tour. You get one champion after another.
It's folded around to Gregorich.
Mark Gregorich has a jack-9 of clubs, and he limps in.
Mark Gregorich. Now, he's a former high school teacher, married with 3 children. He's a poker author and columnist. He wrote a book called 52 Texas Hold'em Tips.
Look at this. Paul McGrill's got ace-10 of spades in a small blind. Let's see what he does here. He raises it, makes it 350 to go. Noli's out. Back to Mark Gregorich, who calls. We're going to see a flop between Paul McGrill and Mark Gregorich.
And let's not forget, there's a $500,000 prize pool here at Foxwoods. $2.5 million for this first season of the PPT.
Let's see what the flop brings.
8, 7, 10, 2 hearts. Wow.
Wow, Mark Gregorich has flopped the stone cold nuts, and Paul McGrill has flopped top pair, top kicker. He could be in big trouble here.
I hear the ding-ding of the bell. Here comes another round.
Paul McGrill has just bet $625 right into the nuts. Let's see how Mark plays his hand. He's got the best hand possible, and he's in position. There is a flush draw out there, though.
Make it 22.
Well, Mark makes a quack bet at Paul X22 McGreal.
Mark Gregorich makes it 2,200 to go. Nice big raise by Mark Gregorich right here. Wow, this is a really tough decision for Paul McGreal. He's got top pair with tens, top kicker with his ace. Big raise from an ultra-conservative, solid player in Mark Gregorich. Let's see how Paul handles this.
I'd rather be the quacker than the quacky, I'll tell you that much.
Reverse quack.
If you make it 22,000, I'll lay it down.
Wait till
Wait a minute.
Before the day's over, I'm going to probably make it 22,000 at least once.
Okay. But in the meantime, back at the ranch, what do you do about this?
You know that old statement they always make, Paul, what would you do if it was up to you?
Yeah. Can I ask TJ?
What? You can't ask TJ. This isn't Who Wants to Be a Billionaire. Paul, you don't have a lifeline? And he must.
Wow, there he goes.
Wow. Big laydown for Paul McGreal. As it turns out, is probably the right move. He would have had to catch running tens and aces in order to do anything, and that's very unlikely.
All right, Mark, we are moving up to tournament level 3. The blinds are going to 100, 200. There still is no ante.
And the clock is always ticking. These players know that, and they know how to adjust their game for each level increase.
That's right. It's chip building time. You can't just sit around and wait for a good hand. Sometimes you got to make a move and go after it. It's folded around to Cloutier. Looks down at ace-10. He's going to come in firing. He raises it to 600.
Paul McGreal looks down at king-5 of clubs on the button. Let's see what he does.
Well, these two are no strangers to playing against each other, Mark.
McGreal here isn't giving him a lot of credit, and he's going to call the 600.
And Sean quickly folds.
We're going to see a flop between TJ Cloutier and Paul X22 McGreal.
Paul McGreal sure isn't a lot of hands.
That's kind of an odd call there, too. He's got king-5 of clubs, but he does have position on TJ.
Here comes the flop.
Well, the flop comes down ace-9-8, 2 clubs.
Well, TJ has flopped a pair of aces with a 10 kicker. McGreal has flopped the nut flush draw with the king-5 of clubs.
Well, Cloutier's a 3-1 favorite from here. It goes check, check. Here comes a turn.
Cloutier checks that flop, I think, to see if McGreal will fire away with the ace on the board. After McGreal passes, now TJ's going to assume the aggressive position.
Well, the turn is the 2 of diamonds.
Now TJ's going to lead out for 550 with a pair of aces, 10 kicker. Paul McGreal is drawing to the nuts. If a club should come that doesn't pair the board, Paul McGreal will have the best possible hand.
I raise quack, quack.
But instead of getting a cheap card, he raises it 2,200. Quack, quack.
Did you see that? If you blinked, you might have missed. TJ just moved right in on him without a hesitation, without a thought. TJ Cloutier with a pair of aces, the best hand, has just put the pressure right back on McGreal. Now McGreal's in the pressure cooker.
Wow, he is really putting X22 to the test here.
Paul McGreal right now is thinking, what did I just do? I could have seen the last card for 550. Instead, I raised, and now TJ has priced me out of the pot. TJ Cloutier, with his all-in bet, has made it virtually impossible for Paul McGreal to call right here.
Look at that face. He's not giving away any information. McGreal's trying to figure out, do I call here, try to get lucky and make a hand? He decides not to.
There it goes.
Well, TJ graciously shows him the ace-10, shows him that he made a good laydown. TJ Cloutier, with that play, establishing a strong, aggressive table image early on.
Well, that's what happens when you make a play at the great TJ Cloutier.
TJ Cloutier had just come to the table. He was going to assert himself. He did. Paul McGreal got beat down for challenging the man.
Paul McGreal has his short pants on, his striped tie, and just took a ruler across the knuckles.
I just thought I'd show you how to play that hand you just threw away. I haven't got nothing. 1-8.
Let's go out to the poker pit where Eric E-Dog Lindgren is all in with pocket kings up against Steve Zolotow's Big Slick.
Lindgren needs a diamond or a king, or he will be eliminated early in this tournament.
That does it. 2004 WPT Player of the Year, Eric Lindgren, has been eliminated in 113th place. Mark, how the mighty have fallen.
Coreboy, that just goes to show that no one is safe on the PPT.
But here at the PPT, when you bust out,
See you next time.
it's all about the color pink. When a player is eliminated, they're given a numbered pink card that shows where they finished in the tournament.
The main area.
With card in hand, they report to PPT Player Relations, better known to poker pros as the Pink Lady.
Tony, we're so sorry to see you.
The Pink Lady then records the specifics of the hand that cost them the tournament.
See you next time.
It's all about the stats.
It's tough.
And as the field of qualified professionals thins out, PPT is taking note.
Well, back at our spotlight table, the action here is going to be on Slim.
He looks down at first card of an ace of diamonds. That's got to be nice.
Second card, Jack of clubs, not bad. He's just going to call it.
Slim has been doing that all day, just limping in with big hands, small hands, medium hands. He likes to just limp in.
Well, Hall with 55 right behind him, and he's going to limp in as well.
So is Noli Francisco with pocket ducks.
He really has quack, huh?
Brindley joins the fray with an 8-9, and now it's to Gregorich. Man, we've seen very little of so far. He has big slick. He pops it, makes it 1,400 to go.
He's hoping to get all that dead money out there and not see a flop. Let's see if it works.
Well, he's a pretty tight player. Let's see how they react. Slim gets out of the way.
Slim quickly folds ace-jack. Hall quickly folds pocket fives.
Oh my, Noli Francisco makes it 4,000 to go with pocket deuces. Roy quickly folds. Now it's back to Mark Gregorich.
Well, Noli must feel like he can push Gregorich around at this spotlight table.
That's exactly it, Matt. Noli Francisco has picked up on the way Gregorich has played. A little passive, a little tentative, very tight, and he says, I'm going to put the pressure back on this guy that likes to fold.
Says Gregorich, unless you have aces or kings, I know you're going to fold.
I don't think Gregorich can get away from this hand. He's got ace, king. Why did Noli just limp in with two people in front of him if he has a big hand? I think Gregorich is going to push here.
I just don't like this hand.
Oh my! Mark Gregorich lays down ace-king to Noli Francisco's gigantic raise. And Noli, he flips over two deuces.
He shows the quack.
Mark, I'll tell you what, Noli Francisco is a hard man to read. That little smile there projects all the strength in the world. Gets Gregorich to fold big slick.
Some people might call this a foolish play on Noli's part, Noli Francisco. I think it's world-class poker.
Well, Mark, there's $2.5 million on the line that every player here is gunning for. We'll be back with more first quarter action from Foxwoods on the Professional Poker Tour. The day began with Greg Raymer as the spotlight table bully, stealing math geek Paul McGreal's lunch money.
Well, we gotta have something for the TV.
X22 finally fought back, and with a little help from Roy the Boy Brindley,
You weren't supposed to call.
You wasn't supposed to stick them all in.
the Fossil Man was sent home. Any player hoping to catch a break was crushed when TJ Cloutier, the scariest pro in a room full of scary pros, was brought in to fill the empty seat.
Hey, y'all.
We're back at the spotlight table where TJ Cloutier is going to be the first to act, but he's not at the table. Looks like he's making a phone call, Mark.
He has to be in his seat by the time the dealer gets his second card. There goes the second card for the dealer. TJ's hand is automatically dead.
And let's not forget, there's a $500,000 prize pool here at Foxwoods.
You know, Matt, if you got to miss a hand, though, that's the hand to miss. It's the worst position under the gun. TJ made a strategic move here to do something other than play this hand.
Sean's in.
Alan Jaffrey looks down. Ace-9. She's going to call.
We've got the limp parade going on here.
Yeah, Roy Brindley finally folds.
Now look at this. Mark Gregorich on the button, big slick. He's going to pop it, make it 1,200.
Amarillo with a 10-3 folds. Harley has 8 deuce, not interested. Well, it's back to X22.
Where are you?
Looks like we got a waterfall call there, Mark.
You know, this looks like a sign of weakness to me. It looks like a reluctant call, and sure enough, it's a pretty bad call in the early position with King Queen in that spot.
Noli says, I wanted to see a flop with my 9-8, but I cannot call $1,200. There we go.
Notice Sean Rice mucks his King Queen suited, same hand Paul McGreal's playing for
And
$1,200.
Alan Jaffrey, now she calls with an Ace-9.
Curious call by Alan there.
Ace-9 really is sort of a weak hand when you're facing a raise like
Well,
that.
the kicker's the problem. And sure enough, look at this. The flop brings an ace. Alan Jeffrey's hit top pair, and she's got a weak kicker. She could get in trouble here.
Well, Paul McGrill's the first act here, and he checks his king-queen.
Alan Jeffrey fires out $600 into a $4,700 pot. This is a little feeler bet. She wants to see where she stands in this hand. And Mark Gregorich lets her know exactly where she stands. In bad position.
He makes it 2,000 to go. Well, Paul McGrill says, missed the flop. I'm going to get out of your way.
Wow, Alan quickly calls that raise. I'm a little surprised here. Mark Gregorich is a very solid player. Been playing pretty tight.
Let's see a turn card. Turns to 4 diamonds.
That doesn't change a thing.
What's Alan thinking here, Mark?
Alan doesn't know what to do with her hand. It's a tough situation to be in. She flopped aces up, but she's been raised pre-flop, and she got raised on the flop. So she's probably thinking, should I make another small preventative bet?
She checks it.
Come on.
The former high school teacher moves all in for $6,000.
And Alan quickly folds. This is why you got to watch out for those ace rag type hands, Matt.
Well, Mark Gregorich wins a hand. You know, he's been catching some cards. That's the second hand in a row that he's had ace-king.
Doesn't hurt to catch some cards, boy, if you're going to try to win a tournament.
No, it doesn't really matter to you, though. You like to play anything.
That's right, I do. I've never seen 2 cards I didn't like, Matt.
On the big stack, we have European pro Roy Brindley with over 21,000 in chips. But the low stack is Alan Jeffrey with just half of what she started with today, 5,000 in chips. Mark, is she in the danger zone yet?
Jaffrey has 25 times the big blind. She's still okay, but if she dips too much lower, she's going to have a big bullseye on her chest. But more importantly, it limits what she can do. It's like a team being backed up into their own end zone. It really limits the plays they can call.
Well, it's folded around to Slim. He looks down at a queen 6 offsuit.
Look at this. He reaches for some chips and he raises it to 500. Harley Hall has 4 deuce, can't play that.
You can get away from the cameras.
Now the real hand comes out. Ace-Jack for TJ.
All right, that raise.
He knows that it's very likely Amarillo's trying to steal in position here, so TJ makes it 12,000 to go.
Well, this is legend versus legend here, Mark. And Cloutier is sending a message out there.
That's right. Do not mess with my blinds.
And Amarillo folds.
You caught me with a player.
Playing 4 heart.
The 2 guys who put Texas and Texas Hold'em going up against each other.
Amarillo, unopened pot, raises on the button, tries to steal the blinds. TJ says, none of that. I know what you're doing. I've got the hand.
Let's head out to the poker pit where WPT Reno champion Michael Kinney is all in with aces against 1995 World Series of Poker main event champ Dan Harrington.
Kinney is in a world of trouble, though, because Harrington managed to get all the chips in when he was ahead with top 2 pair, jacks and 10s. Kinney is going to have to catch an ace, a 9, or a deuce, or he will be eliminated here.
Oh, the 5 of diamonds is not one of them. He is out of the PPT here at Foxwoods.
Well, the competition has been tough. We started the day with 134 players at 15 tables. Now we're down to 111 players at 12 tables.
We are back at table 1, the spotlight table here at the Professional Poker Tour. The only tour where you have to qualify to play, Mark, and there are poker greats at every table, and this spotlight table is no exception.
You cannot find a safe haven at any table out there, Matt.
It's folded around to Slim.
He limps in with a little queen 4 suited there.
Well, it's the TJ Cloutier. He folds. Paul McGrill, former math teacher, has jack 3. He's going to call. And Noli Francisco is going to check it. We're going to see a flop here, Mark. Flop comes. Queen ace 3, 2 diamonds.
Well, everybody's hit a little piece of this. Paul McGrill flopped bottom pair with 3s, and both Noli and Amarillo have a pair of queens.
X22 checks. Noli checks. And Amarillo checks. Turn. 5 of clubs.
Nice card for Noli. Makes some queens up.
Paul McGrill checked it. Noli bets out.
Amarillo quickly calls with his pair of queens.
And X22, the backgammon guru, looks at his hand again and says, I got a feeling bottom pair is no good. He dumps it. All right, we're going to be heads up here for the river.
Oh,
it's a four of
that's
diamonds.
a 4 of diamonds, and that gives Amarillo Slim queens up.
Amarillo fires 400 with his queens up, and Noli makes the minimum raise here. Don't know if I like Noli reopening the betting here. Scary board, that 4 could have done anything, made a straight or a flush, but yet Noli reopens the betting with queens up. Amarillo calls it. Worked out for Noli. He's going to win this pot with queens and 5s.
How could you be in there with a queen and a 5?
Big blind.
I'll tell you why.
Amarillo shows his queens and 4s.
Well, that's Francisco's third score of the day. And with the historic first PPT title on the line, there's no better time to start heating up. We'll be back with more poker action from Foxwoods in just a moment. Welcome back to the PPT, the only professional league of its kind. It's still pretty early in the tournament. There's a mountain yet to climb, but these players are trying to position themselves to be the king of that mountain as the clock ticks on.
Well, it's folded around to Noli, the smiling assassin Francisco. He's on the button. He has 6-5 offsuit, and he elects to just call. Limp in.
Sean Rice is a 7-6. He calls.
Noli likes those little cards. His favorite hand is a 3-5, folks, so be careful.
Well, the flop comes down ace-4 deuce, 2 spades.
Well, Jaffrey has flopped a pair of 4s. Francisco has flopped a gut shot straight draw, and Sean Rice has left the building.
Sean quickly checks it. Alan Jaffrey bets out 400.
Alan, good instincts. Nice bet here. She has second pair, but it is the best hand. Noli quickly calls with just a gut shot straight draw.
Sean folds.
Noli has an interesting style. He likes to play small cards and represent a big hand.
Turn card's the queen of spades.
Wow, Alan's just hit queens up. She's going to fire again. She fires out 600, and Noli quickly calls with just a gut shot. He's got to be setting her up to try to take it away from her.
The river's the king of diamonds.
Alan checks. There's a flush draw out there. There's a straight draw, all sorts of stuff. And Noli fires out 2,000 with a 6-high.
Wow, he's really putting Alan to the test here.
This man is so persistent, it's unbelievable. He just keeps coming at you and coming at you.
Oh, look at this, though.
Alan's going to call it reluctantly.
And Noli immediately mucks his hand.
He knows he can't win.
What's 6 highs no good?
Alan's going to win that pot. And a player has requested that her hand be exposed. She has the winning hand. There was a bet and a call. That's perfectly legitimate. The dealer should turn him up. He does.
Oh, you play with that hand.
See, Slim, she plays it better than you.
Well, TJ just said she plays that hand better than you, Amarillo.
Well, he's referring to Amarillo, obviously, in the last hand, making queens up with queen 4. But Amarillo, unfortunately, lost with his queen 4.
And let's not forget, there's a $500,000 prize pool here at Foxwoods. $2.5 million for this first season of the PPT. Who wants it? Who's going to get it? We'll find out.
Absolutely.
Fold around to Sean Rice here, who picks up pocket cowboys. He'll probably fold. Well, he makes it 600 to go, Mark. Sean Rice, welcome to the spotlight table.
What the heck is Roy Brindley doing? Where has he been? When a man doesn't play a hand for 2 hours and finally comes in raising, you need to give him credit for something.
There goes the flop. Comes down 7-4 deuce. And Roy Brindley, first to act, bets out. Not only does he call Sean Rice's raise, but he's betting out 600 on the flop.
I tell you, this is a huge mistake that you see amateurs and not so top-level pros make, and that's they're failing to play the player.
Another 7 of hearts.
Well, now Brindley fires out 1,400 pretty quickly here. And Sean Rice is merely going to call again. He might be a little concerned that Brindley hit the 7 and has 3 7s now.
We can see that Brindley has no chance of winning this hand unless he bluffs Sean Rice off the hand. Oh, look at that. Another 7 comes on the board.
Well, this is actually a very good card for Sean Rice. He's not going to give his opponent quads.
Well, it slows Brindley down. He checks it for the first time.
Well, at least Brindley had the smarts to check the river. He's going to stop right there. He's given up. Good decision, finally, from Roy Brindley.
Rice is reaching for some chips here. He bets out 1,400. 1,400 into about a $4,000 pot.
Yeah, he wants to get paid here. He knows his kings are good. Unfortunately, Brindley won't pay him, but Sean Rice one of his rare appearances, takes down this pot.
Action's going to be on former professional motocross racer Harley Hall. He folds. TJ folds a Jack 10. Paul McGreal, Jack 8 suited. He's going to call. Noli has Ace 10. He quickly calls.
That is the look of a man that's about to hit the subways.
Mark, that's the great thing about the PPT. We get to see what action's going on out in the pit and how things lead up to our final table.
That's right. Only 6 get paid, though, and these guys, they all want to win this thing.
Mark Gregorich calls with his 6-5, and Amarillo taps the table. We're going to see a flop. Flop comes, 10 Jack 6.
Well, interesting flop here. Paul McGreal flops top pair, backdoor flush draw, and Noli Francisco flops second pair with a backdoor flush draw.
Board goes check, check. Now it's up to Paul McGreal.
Paul has the best hand here with top pair.
He bets out 625.
His patented rainbow bet, one of each color, 625. And Noli quickly calls.
Mark and Amarillo both fold. Going to be heads up here. We're going to see a turn. Well, it turns a deuce of diamonds.
Wow. Interesting card here. Each player has picked up a flush draw to go along with their pair.
Well, Paul McGreal checks.
Sly little play here by Paul. He has a very big hand, or at least he thinks he does. He doesn't know that Noli has a bigger flush draw.
But that being said, Paul is still a 70% favorite. Noli shoots out $850.
Paul's got to love his hand here. Top pair, flush draw.
I'd like to make a prediction.
Well, I know what you want to predict, Sean. Whether Paul's going to raise quack, quack, or double quack, quack, or triple quack, quack.
Sure, or do I have to guess?
I don't know if I'm psychic or psychotic.
It's possible to be both. Okay, I raise.
How much?
Double quack, quack.
Double quack, quack, Mark. That means $4,400 raise.
That's right. Deuces are sometimes called ducks, and ducks sometimes quack, quack.
So quack, quack is 22. Double quack, quack is 44.
Bringing the total to 5,250. He'd just as soon take this pot down right here.
Really?
Wow, look at this. Noli, unshaken by that big raise, quickly calls 4,400 more. Huge pot, over $12,000. One card to come. Paul McGreal is in the driver's seat.
And here comes the river.
Oh, and it's the ace of clubs. Noli Francisco makes aces up on the river.
Well, Paul McGreal checks.
And Noli quickly moves enough chips in to put X22 all in. And if McGreal makes the call, he's done, he's out, he's gone. This is a tough decision. If this is a cash game, Paul calls. If this is a point in the tournament where he can afford to lose the chips, he's going to call. But because his tournament life is at stake, I'm not sure he can call here. Paul's going to fold it. Nice laydown by X22.
Well, Mark, Francisco has put the big hurt on McGreal here, crippling him. He only has 1,500 left in this tournament.
McGreal is certainly on life support here, but let's think about how he got here. He makes this weird raise on the turn where a lot of players would have moved all in. McGreal simply raises at 4,400, otherwise known as quack quack, and he leaves 1,500 behind.
I mean, sometimes it pays off to live in Candyland and make quack quack bets.
That's no consolation to Paul McGreal. He's disgusted by that river card. He should be.
You got $1,500 left to fight in this tournament.
Let's see if Paul McGreal, with his 1,500, can mount a comeback when we return to Foxwoods on the Professional Poker Tour.
Welcome back to the Professional Poker Tour, the only league of its kind. I'm Matt Corboy alongside Mark Safe. You know, Mark, every player here has earned their right to be here, and they are having a great time.
Well, except for Paul McGreal, who only has 1,500 thanks to the smiling assassin, Noli Francisco.
It's a free roll here, Mark, but it's real money if you win.
$500,000 at stake right here without having to buy in.
Here we go.
McGreal folds, and Noli Francisco limps in with a 10-9 offsuit.
Well, McGreal had ace-deuce there in first position, decided that wasn't the hand he wanted to move all in with.
Well, it's folded around to Amarillo Slim, who has a 4-5 of hearts, and he jacks it up to 600. There you go, Slim. Nothing like playing the best cards.
You probably love those cards, don't you, Mark?
I love it.
Well, Hall has ace-8 here.
I doubt Hall's going to play ace-8 for a raise in front of him, and he doesn't.
TJ mucks his ace-deuce.
But look at this. Noli quickly calls. We're going to see a flop between Noli Francisco and Amarillo Slim Preston.
Comes down king 8-7, 2 clubs.
Well, this is a good flop for Noli. He flops an open-ended straight draw. Slim flops a gut shot straight draw, but I'll tell you what, he better not make it, because if he gets his 6, Noli's going to make a bigger straight. Noli checks to Slim.
Bets out 575.
And the action's back on Noli. Well, Noli makes it 2,000 to go.
I can't catch a card as big as a damn 7.
That's enough to get Slim to lay down his hand.
That's right, and Slim shows him the 4-5 of hearts and says, I'll give up my hand.
Why would Slim show his cards in that spot?
He says, look, boys, I can raise with any 2 cards.
She's doing a little advertising, huh? Guys, I'm crazy. I'll play anything. You never know what I have.
Well, Matt, when suited connectors hit, they usually hit big, and your opponents, unsuspecting, usually pay you off like a slot machine.
All right, the action here is going to be on Francisco. The smiling assassin, there he is.
Oh, he's got a little stride in his step now after that last play.
Well, ace-queen will put another stride in your step right there. Under the gun, raises it up to 600. Never can't tell, though. Francisco's always smiling, but this time he has a reason to smile. Well, it's folded around to Slim. It looks down. Oh, and a real hand here, Mark. He's got pocket queens. Re-raises it, makes it 2,000 to go.
Tensions are extremely high at this point, Matt. There isn't a professional poker player out there that doesn't want to be the first ever PPT champion.
Absolutely.
Oh, Noli wastes no time to say, Slim, I think you're just joshing me. I've got the hand here, and he makes it 5,600 to go. Amarillo Slim now quickly moves all in for 1,400 more.
I don't have a queen 4.
Noli's going to call that 1,400, and he's going to be in bad shape against Amarillo Slim's 2 queens, Noli Francisco, ace-queen.
You couldn't tell by looking at Noli's face, though. He's still got a smile.
He's in big trouble, though. He's hoping to spike an ace here or make some sort of exotic hand like a straight or a flush.
Here comes a flop. King 8-4.
That's no help at all to Noli Francisco. Slim is more than the 90% favorite.
And the turns 8 of clubs still brings no help for Francisco.
Francisco's down to his last card. He has to spike an ace here, or Amarillo Slim is going to double through his nemesis, Noli Francisco. The river is the 4 of spades. Francisco will donate about 9,000 and change over to Amarillo Slim. I think Noli feels like he got suckered into this pot. I think that's exactly what happened.
I'll tell you, Amarillo Slim has been advertising his crappy hands all day long. He showed the 5-4 in the last hand. Showed the Jack-6 when he said it was pocket queens. Ironically, this time, he had the ladies, and he took down that pot from Noli Francisco.
This is what makes Amarillo Slim one of the best in the game still. He got his opponent to get all his chips in real bad.
Now, not only is there $2.5 million on the line this season, but the winner of this tournament gets to call themselves the best of the best.
Absolutely, Matt. One of a kind.
Amarillo now looks down at Jack-9. He's going to call it.
He limps in, but look what happened behind him. Harley Hall has picked up pocket jacks. Looks like he's counting out a raise.
He's got the fish hooks. He puts out 900. TJ's 6-3 is no good. He folds.
Look at Paul McGrill. He has ace-10.
Raise.
He announces raise. That means the rest of his chips have to go in. He's only got 1,400.
It's enough to get Noli out of the way.
Curious play here by Paul X22 McGrill.
Well, Mark, he's got the short stack. I mean, he's got to pick some place to move all in, right?
I agree with you, but Hartley Hall is just not the guy I'm going to raise with ace-10.
Let's get him. I say you get him. I'm rolling a cigarette.
And Hall makes the call.
Every time you're the short stack, Matt, you've got the bullseye on your chest. Players are looking to take you out.
I need an ace.
Paul McGrill requests an ace. Unfortunately for him, Sean Rice and Roy Brindley each folded an ace. He's going to have to catch the case ace or something exotic in order to get saved here.
Let's see if he can hit a one-outer ace on the flop.
Come on, bail me out, Jenny.
Paul asked the dealer to bail him out here. He wants to see an ace. Here comes the flop. Oh, it's a jack, deuce, 4.
That's pretty good. Wait, I got a club draw and a straight draw. I got a flush draw and a straight draw.
Well, Harley Hall has just flopped top set, leaving X22 in bad shape. He now has to catch either 2 clubs, a 3-5 to make a wheel, or a king-queen to make Broadway. In either case, Paul needs 2 perfect cards. Let's see if the turn card is going to be one of those cards. It is not.
It is not. That's
it's
it.
at 10. Paul McGrill, X22, will be eliminated on this hand.
That's it. Go out.
Well, we're going to see a river, even though it doesn't matter.
See, that's nice, Mark. The other players say, good game, Paul, you know, nice plan. They all sort of like each other, and they all know that these are professionals, and everyone playing on the tour has been invited to be here. They all earn their spot.
One more card.
Yes, but they're also trying to take each other's heads off, Matt. That's what poker's all about.
Good plan, Paul.
X22 is the 29th pro busted out of this tournament, which means there are still 105 of the greatest players in the world chasing the historic first PPT title and a piece of the $2.5 million prize pool. With champions falling left and right, this tournament is only getting tougher. We'll be back with more first quarter action on the Professional Poker Tour. Welcome back to the Professional Poker Tour, the only league of its kind. Now, not only is there $2.5 million on the line this season, but the winner of this tournament gets to call themselves the best of the best. Here at our spotlight table, it is folded around to Cloutier.
Cloutier, one of the most accomplished tournament poker players in history. Now's bringing it in with a 10-8 for a raise. I love it.
Right behind him, Francisco has an ace-10, Mark.
Look at this. Francisco folds this type of hand. He's been calling all day long in position with these types of hands. He doesn't want to mess with a strong player like Cloutier.
Well, right behind him, Rice has pocket sevens. I think Rice actually might play a hand here. He does. He calls it. Well, Jaffrey and Brindley get out of the way. We're going to have a heads-up pot here between Cloutier and Rice.
Well, I think we need to call Rice's family and tell them we have found him. Rice is at the spotlight table.
Flop comes down king 10-4, 2 diamonds.
Cloutier with his 10-8 hits second pair, and it's a bigger pair than Rice's 2 sevens. Cloutier wastes no time, fires out 1,500. Rice never even considers making a move on it, lays the hand down. I'm a little surprised that this is a student of Amarillo Slim, because Slim's game has a lot more bite to it. Now, I don't want to take anything away from Rice. He might be having an off day today, but he's not playing the way Slim would like him to play. I can guarantee you that.
Well, Jim McManus, the author of the famous poker book Positively Fifth Street, is going to take the open seat left by the exit of Paul McGreal. He's also going to be sitting down with the chip lead at this table with over 24,000 in chips.
That's right, Matt. This is pure luck of the draw. Sometimes you take your stack and you're the big stack at the table. Sometimes you take your stack and you're not so big.
Well, the action here is on Harley Hall. He gets rid of his 6 deuce. TJ's got king 3. He mucks. Well, now Jim has ace queen.
Okay, I make it 6.
He's going to come in for a raise. Noli folds is 7-4.
Now, players are sometimes suspicious of a guy that they say is coming off the streets raising. This is his very first hand. He does have a legitimate raising hand, and he is going to take down this pot. But a lot of times, players will be a little suspicious of a player who comes in and raises their first hand.
Let's quickly get out to the poker pit where Chris Bigler has just moved all in on the flop. He has 2 pair, 9s and 5s. He's been called by Russell Rosenblum, who has a flush draw. Any spade will send Chris Bigler home.
Matt, we have a blind versus blind situation. They both flop big hands and big draws. Now it's a matter of what the dealer puts up on the turn or river. The turn is the ace of diamonds. Chris Bigler's holding on here, and he's able to dodge Russell Rosenblum's flush draw. He makes a full house and doubles up Chris Bigler. Nice play here.
That is a monster table out there. Bigler, Rosenblum, Corkins, Darden.
They're all monster tables here on the PPT. You don't see any soft spots here.
Well, back here at the spotlight table, it's folded around to Slim. He's got a real hand again. Pocket 8s here. Going to raise it up, make it 600 to go. Well, Hall folds.
Look at my high card.
Cloutier folds. McManus folds.
And Noli, with a queen 4 offsuit, says, I call.
Queen 4. Queen 4.
We better check the deck here because Slim has just called Noli Francisco's hand.
Well, he's jokingly referencing the hand where he lost to Noli with a queen 4 when Noli had a queen 5.
I'll tell you what, that's just eerie to me as a poker player when my opponent tells me what 2 cards I'm holding, especially a queen 4. It makes me want to get up and play something else.
We're going to see a flop. The flop is 5-6 jack, 2 clubs.
It's a good flop for pocket 8s.
Check.
Noli checks.
Did he check it? Tell him I check it right back to him.
Mark, these two have been at each other all day. They know each other without even knowing that they know each other.
Well, the turn's another jack.
7.
Well, that check by Amarillo on the flop allows Noli to lead out here, try to steal this thing.
Tell him I call his little goat-smelling fanny.
Amarillo quickly calls. I think he pretty much suspects his 8s are still good.
Now, Amarillo is a 90% favorite to win from here.
Noli needs a queen, or else he's going to lose this pot, unless he can somehow bluff his way through it.
Oh, it's not a queen, it's a king. King of diamonds.
Close, but no cigar. But look at Noli. He bets 2,000 in the face of that bet and call on the turn. Wow. He's really put Amarillo in a quandary.
Yeah. Just goes to show you, Mark, you don't have to have the cards to put the pressure on your opponent.
Amarillo doesn't know he had a jack, or possibly he was bluffing, but he hit his king. In any case, Amarillo doesn't look like he likes this bet at all.
Well, Noli's thinking, hey, Amarillo, I'm going to get some of my chips back from you. If I need to bluff you off him, that's the way I'm going to do it.
Finally do the.
Oh, he's going to do it. Looks like Amarillo's going to fold. He folds the
throwing
best
down
hand.
the better hand.
I don't like it when you call my hand all the time.
Noli's going to stick it to him a bit here.
Noli shows him the queen 4.
I called his hand. I called his hand then.
Well, Noli's chuckling and having a good time, but Amarillo does not look so happy.
There's more poker action from the floor of Foxwoods as the PPT continues after this.
Welcome back to the Professional Poker Tour, the only league of its kind.
We started off with 134 players, and there are 101 left. Now, along with Greg Raymer and Paul McGrill, we've seen Evelyn Ng, Hassan Habib, David Williams, Eric Lindgren, and Eric Brennis hit the road.
But hanging in there is John Jawanda, Chris Bigler, Jimmy the Mouth Meehan, and of course, the legendary Doyle Brunson.
Well, as first quarter action is coming to a close here, the chip count at our spotlight table has Jim McManus in the lead with 24,700.
That's right, but the ever-powerful TJ Cloutier and Roy Brindley are right there with 17,000 each.
Well, it's folded around to Slim here. He's got King 3 of clubs.
He's going to call. Harley gets out.
1,000. TJ Cloutier with pocket 10s immediately raises it, makes it 1,000 to go. Look at Noli with ace queen. He immediately makes it 4,000 to go.
Wow.
You don't have to bet that. What's my hand? I'm not going to tell him until y'all start.
Well, that's enough to get Amarillo out.
Let's see what TJ Cloutier is going to do with his 10s. He just calls.
Ooh, this is a battle between two of the best here.
These two are going to go at it. They have ultra-aggressive styles. They like to play a lot of pots.
The flop comes. Jack, Queen 9, 2 hearts.
Well, this is a dangerous flop. Each player has flopped a big piece of this.
Check BP.
Cloutier bets out 4,000.
I'm all in.
Wow. And Francisco quickly announces all in with top pair, top kicker.
All right, I call.
Cloutier knows that it's 5,400 more. He's got an open-ended straight draw. He's getting 4-1 on his money. This is the type of player Cloutier is. He's willing to gamble in order to accumulate chips. This is how you win tournaments. Let's see if TJ Cloutier is able to get an 8, a 10, or a king in order to take Noli Francisco out here. The turn card is a 9. It's of no help. Noli Francisco is now a 77% favorite. He's better than 3-1 against TJ Cloutier. Cloutier will be severely crippled unless he can get an 8, 10, or a king here. And it's a 4 of hearts. Francisco will pick up this huge pot against the poker great TJ Cloutier. What a play by Francisco, getting all the chips in when it counted. At the close of first quarter action, Noli Francisco will end the day with 27,000. Jim McManus, 24,000, and TJ Cloutier with less than 4,000. He goes from table dominance to a short stack just like that.
We're going to go out to the poker pit real quick where there seems to be a controversy involving Eskimo Clark.
No way. Eskimo Clark in a controversy? No way. I don't believe it. It looks like Paul Darden has called a string bet on Eskimo Clark on the end here. The dealer has agreed with Paul Darden and is not allowing Eskimo Clark to make the full bet.
I'm going to have to call it on you now. Since you've done that to me, I'm going to call everything on you.
You do.
Everything on you.
You do that. You do that. I know how to play. You do that.
You got to wonder if the tensions are running high at this point after these guys have played their hearts out for hours on end. These guys want to win, man.
The battle for the first PPT title heats up.
Holy cow! Yeah, baby!
As chip leader Josh Aryeh takes on 100 players left standing.
I bring the big gun.
And a spotlight table packed with 9 of the scariest poker pros in the world. Bigler, Duke, Darden, Caro, Corkins.
And all vow to make it here, the most dangerous final table ever.
It's second quarter coverage of the PPT at Foxwoods. Next time on the Professional Poker Tour.
Okay, that's it from the Professional Poker Tour for this round of action. Tune in next time for another stop on the road to the PPT Championship.
Absolutely. And until then, I'm Matt Corboy for Mark Safe and everyone at the PPT, reminding you, these are professionals. Do not try this at home. See you later.
Got both hands over here like
You had both hands here. You went one with one hand, and then
like
after.
I had both hands pretty far out there.
No, you had both hands pretty close. I was watching you. I was watching you, sir. I wouldn't want to, argue with you, but I was watching you when you were going.
You got to watch a little bit closer.
I was watching. I was watching when you were doing.
100 tournaments, and I'd like to have a direct decision on it.
Well, that's why I called the floor.
There ain't no one in here won more tournaments than I have.
But I'm calling the way it is, sir. I knew what you were trying to do. Well, have a good dinner break.